Now I'm going to show you how to change out a brake master cylinder. This is on my 1990 Honda Civic Si. It's a really simple job. I'm replacing it with a brand new one. This one keeps leaking and the brakes are real soft. After I'm done replacing the cylinder, I'm going to go ahead and bleed the brakes in the proper order as well. It comes with a little bleeding kit to bench bleed the master cylinder before you put it on the car and bleed it with the lines. But let's go ahead and start with the removal. First thing I like to do, I use, it's kind of like for turkey basting, I use this to get out as much of the old brake fluid that I can. That way when I do disconnect the lines, there's not as much residual fluid falling all over the place. That way I can get most of it out and it just makes the job a lot cleaner. What I always do, I always put a rag underneath the brake master cylinder. That way you catch any of the brake fluid. It's not landing on your alternator or on the paint, and it's really detrimental to the paint. So I just try to keep that a little bit cleaner. You're gonna need a line wrench. This works perfect for removing. There's two of these little flare nuts you're gonna have to remove. The first one is right here. The second one is down over here. They're both pretty easy to get to, especially when you have this wrench. So go ahead and loosen up both of those. You may not want to remove them completely yet. I'm just going to get them loose. The reason I'm going to get them loose because it's hard to get them loose if I unbolt the master cylinder, because when I try to spin, the master cylinder tries to move. It's easier to do it when both those nuts are still on there completely. After you've got both of the lines loosened up, remove both of the nuts. They're both 12 millimeter. They have lock washers on there as well. Pull those off. You'll see this is essentially free now. So what I'm going to do is remove, take off both lines, and that's why I have my rag down here to catch any of the brake fluid that leaks down. And after that, just disconnect the two little wires that go to it, which read for the brake light on the cluster, and move these two brake lines back. You should be able to slide it right out. There's plenty of room in here. It's really not that difficult to get out. You can see this one's leaking. You can see where the booster lost a lot of its paint on it. You can even see, I don't know if you can still see it, it's wet in there from the master cylinder leaking. Also, when removing it, don't forget to remove this little rubber seal. Mine actually was still in there and you don't need it. The new one does come with a new rubber seal, and I don't think it would be helpful if you actually double it up. So don't forget to remove the little rubber seal if it's still on the booster. What you want to do next, we're going to bench bleed it. This master cylinder kit came with the instructions. It instructs you to put on a vise. I don't have a vise, and I've done it before without it. You can still pump this. It's not difficult at all. You need to use these two little black fittings because those are actually open. The white ones are plugs. When you're finished, you plug these into those. That way you can move it to the car and get everything ready. When you remove this and put the line in, you lose minimal fluid and you get less air in the line. So you want to use this little clip, basically run both back into the cylinder. You're going to fill it up. That way it's submerged. And then you just need to pump it a few times. Make sure this doesn't pop out. You can see it working around, pushing all the air out. You gotta make sure the lines do not come out of the fluid. That way they're always submerged. Like that, you can see. Of course, there's a lot of mini bubbles in there, but it's basically full of fluid now. That's all you need to do. You can keep doing it, but it's going to be a little bubbly because of all the motion of the fluid right now. There you go. I don't know if you can really tell with the camera, but both lines are completely full of fluid and they're stuck in there now. It's good to go. So that means it's bench bled and getting most of the air out of the actual brake master cylinder itself. Next, you can remove these and we're going to put on the plugs. It's going to be messy though. Let me get a rag. Slide that under there. Plug up that one. Fluid can drain out of the rag and plug up that one. There you go. It's bench bled, ready to install onto your vehicle now. Here it is, completely reassembled back onto the brake booster. I tightened it up already. I did leave the 2 plugs in there. I just wanted you to see how they stayed in there. That way you can pull them out and then slide your brake line in as quickly as possible to so you don't lose as much fluid. And then after that, you need to brake the entire you need to bleed the entire braking system. That way you can get out any air that's in the line still. And on this particular vehicle, you need to start the front driver. Next, you go to rear passenger. Then you go to front passenger. Then you go to rear driver. That's the order you're supposed to go in when bleeding an 88 to 91 Honda Civic or CRX. Hope this has helped.